Hello there, Tony Bakker from Six String Country. I just got done reading a book, Conversations with Tom Petty by Paul Zollo. I'm not getting paid to do that or anything, but I was getting through this book and I finished it. I couldn't put it down. And there's just a lot of fun guitar stuff in there. So I thought I'd just do a fun, quick hitter video here and go over a few fun facts from a guitar player's perspective. Okay, we're gonna get into the first 4 chords Tom Petty ever learned on guitar, and then a song, one of my favorite Tom Petty songs, that uses those 4 chords. And I'll tell you a couple other fun little things I learned in the book along the way. Let's go. If you're a Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers fan, you should really pick this book up. You won't want to put it down. He tells stories about meeting Elvis through his uncle who worked in the movies. And that's what really got him obsessed with buying records and listening to records. And then when the Beatles came out, that's what got him obsessed with playing the guitar. And he talks about how he learned. I mean, it was pretty much back then in Gainesville, him and his buddies just figuring stuff out together and showing their friends what they just figured out. Which is, I had formal lessons growing up, but that's how me and my buddies learned things outside of our lessons too, right? But that's, I think he said he had maybe 1 or 2 formal lessons and then just said that wasn't for him, and he just picked stuff up off the records and learned from his buddies. There's a couple other things that I had heard of, but he talks about a lot in the book that I find really interesting, like how he did an album with Johnny Cash. He played bass guitar. It's called, I think it was one of them that Rick Rubin produced, American to Unchained. And he played bass, and when he showed up to the studio, Rick Rubin had most of the Heartbreakers in the room with him, along with Marty Stewart. Carl Perkins showed up. And they just had a blast doing that record. Also enjoyed reading about him and the Heartbreakers being Bob Dylan's backing band. I'd heard that Bob Dylan had done that with the band called The Band, right? But the Heartbreakers did that for Bob Dylan too, for a tour. For quite a while, they would open and then they would be Bob Dylan's band. It just made me feel like the whole the Heartbreakers band loved music, and they were just authentically in there to try and make the best music they could, and they really enjoyed the process. And they were very respectful to the people that they idolized growing up, and you see that throughout the book over and over again. Anyway, he also reveals his first 4 chords he learned on guitar. Those chords are a C, an F, a G, and an A minor. I'm doing them with the capo on because the song that I'm gonna play that he used those chords to write has the capo on the 5th fret. But these are the chord shapes that he learned first. And another thing he talked about his playing was that he used a lot of alternate voicings, which you can hear in the recordings, and that when people try to play his songs, it's very important to get the voicings right because they make a big difference in how the song sounds. And this was something that was very important to him. So I made sure I did this the way he was at least doing it at the end of his career. I found him playing Wildflowers on his last tour. I actually got to see him on his last tour too, in Milwaukee though. This was the last time, apparently, he played Wildflowers live. The first chord is this. Instead of playing just an F, it's adding the pinky finger to the 3rd fret above the capo on the high E string. And that makes it an F add 9. Some people call that an F2. We're just adding in that 2nd degree of an F scale, the G note. And then a standard C chord, and then a standard G chord. We're going to play like this, and then back to the C. And sometimes when he's on the G, you'll hear him do a sus, which is the 1st fret of the B string. Right, so that would make it a G sus, so that's another cool voicing he uses. When we get to the bridge, same F chord, then we got a C over E here. A minor, which is one of the first 4 chords that he learned, right? Putting them to good use here. And then a D over F sharp, which wasn't part of that list. What's another cool voicing? It's not just a D chord, right? It's D over F sharp. It's got the 3rd in the bass there. And then a G. Wildflowers as a record is probably my favorite Tom Petty record, and Wildflowers as a song is up there on my song list. So when I heard that the first 4 chords he ever learned ended up being what he used, those shapes anyway, to write Wildflowers, I thought that was pretty cool. So if you're not a Tom Petty fan, that was probably the most boring 5 minutes of your life, and 5 minutes that you're never gonna get back. But if you are a Tom Petty fan, I hope you found that interesting. If you're really into that kind of stuff, the history of some of the artists you like, and you like Tom Petty, pick up that book, Conversations with Tom Petty. And that's just what I think is interesting. Have you read the book? What did you find interesting? Have you found other clips or interview quotes from Tom Petty or Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, put them in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and happy playing.